award for the man who made all this possible. A man who pretty much invented podcasting about reality TV. I cannot sing his praises enough. He is the literal GOAT of podcasting. He is my favorite Survivor player and yours. Is Mr. Cesternino!
What's going on, Chicago? Wow. Thank you all. Let people at home know that you're here. This is the biggest crowd we've ever had for any RHAP live show. 950 people are here tonight, and the vibes are immaculate. But as far as that episode goes, I'm pissed! All right, well, we got a great show. We've got so many great Survivor guests to get to. Thank you all for coming out. And so, in the spirit of tonight's festivities, so many people came up to me today and said, Rob, I really want to open the show with you. And so, I have a big decision to make about who is going to open the show. So it's down to 5, okay? All right, here they come. We've got Dr. Evan Trevelyan. Owen Knight. And Brandon Conley.
Okay. All right. Now, I've invited, it's down to 5. Okay. Now, I need a little help. Okay. So, if you could all just very quickly, here, stand behind a microphone. If you could just make the case. Okay?
Rob,
Hold on. Are these microphones on?
Rob, I am starving to talk about this episode. I'm starving for it.
Okay.
Rob, I think whatever decision you make will be good. I think you should not feel guilty.
Okay, I appreciate
that. No matter who you choose.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna beg.
Rob, I've lost weight since I've been here. Please.
Okay.
It's been my dream. Ever since I was like a young guy, I haven't pooped in 3 weeks, unrelated to this. It would mean a lot to me to just get to lead the show off.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think I have a decision. Okay. Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Okay. Kelly and Franny, could you? Okay.
Do rock.
Rock, paper, scissors. Okay.
You do rock.
Okay. All right. Okay, that settles it. All right, let's go. Evie, Franny, Kelly, Owen. Okay. Okay.
I got voted out at one of these, and somehow this is sadder, I feel like. I'm going to take off. I'll be back later.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. How's everybody doing? These microphones are too high. Forgot to check that before. Okay. All right. But it was a very interesting episode here tonight, and a lot of... I felt like that this was a night of very big decisions that had to get made by the players. We referenced the big decision that Maria had to make, but I'd like to start with Charlie, because I feel like that this was an episode that was very much through the lens of what is Charlie going to do. Coming out of the last episode, I thought that Charlie was in this very interesting position where he really, it seems like that has the group that he's with, but then also the possibility to go with this other group, the people that were between Kenzie, Venus, and Liz, who were sort of on the outs and could have gone either way, but ultimately decided to go with the group that blindsided Tiffany. So I would love to talk that through and if Charlie made the right decision.
Yeah, it's a tough episode because, well, first of all, the 46 cast is killing it. Like, every episode is so fun, so seriously. Yeah, and it's tough because, I feel like for so much of the episode, we saw Charlie really articulating all the reasons why it really makes sense to get out Q. You get out Q, you weaken Maria's power, now Maria only has you. Like, it seemed so apparent, and I don't know, from what we got from the episode, it seemed like he got a little freaked out of the mystery of what Venus can do, but at the end of the day, you're trying to set up a Final Four with Venus, you have to kind of keep Venus in the game to do that. So,
yeah, I think that Charlie's in a really interesting position. What's curious to me about Charlie is the fact that I feel like throughout the season, we have seen him talk so much about his position, his decision-making, where he thinks the game is at, and yet you have all these people saying, like, he's meek, I'm not sure if he can make decisions, which feels so, like, contrary to what we're seeing. So it's really interesting, like, how we're seeing him as an audience versus how others are perceiving him. I honestly think that he's in a fine position regardless of who went home tonight, because either way, he still has people in front of him who are perceived as bigger threats, and he's in a position where he can start to kind of like spread his wings a little bit if he continues to target Maria in the next vote.
Yeah, I think we really all need to go to the Charlie Davis School of Threat Management.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Just talk about Taylor Swift all the time.
It's
That's
almost
the way to
annoying
do it.
how little notes I have for Charlie. Like, we get it. But
And he wins challenges, and Kenzie called him the court jester to Maria.
right. Yeah, that is shocking. That is shocking. But I feel like for Charlie making this decision, one of the themes of this season to me is how much chaos are you willing to deal with? And I'm looking at Venus and Q, and everyone's like, Venus is so chaotic, that's fair. I'm like, have we forgotten that Q is also kind of chaotic? It's like, apples and oranges to me. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in terms of this is better or not for Charlie, but I think he's played the middle so well that no matter what happens, he's actually in a really good spot.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's been fascinating to see and a little frustrating just because I think Maria is playing amazing, and hearing her game get explained through Charlie's lens is it comes off a little maybe one-sided, I suppose. But I agree with Franny's point. I think he's got Shields ahead of him. I think having the chaos of Q, who's always there as a name that's easy to say, it's been said a million times at this point, I think that's something to keep around. But yeah, the man in the skirt is a total wild card, so I don't understand how...
I feel like that Q was a wild card. And I feel like that it's been a tale of two games for Q, where he had the game where he was the one controlling everything. It was Q's way or the highway with the 6. But really, since that point, I feel like that it has been that Q is just a very passive player in the game. We see him laying down and not really trying to organize the vote, and he's a distraction. But it's almost like that this new version of Q has been this perfect vehicle for Maria to be able to just that he is super loyal to what Maria wants to do and has been this great smokescreen for these last couple of votes. And it's not even that Q, other than the reward challenge business from last week, that he himself has not really been trying to dictate how things go.
Well, and the other thing that's weird about Q is exactly what you just said, Rob. He's kind of lying down, playing dead a little bit, has really taken his foot off the gas. But the rhetoric around him is still that he's a big threat. We had people this week saying, you need to make a big move. We need to take out this big threat. And I'm like, big threat to who? Who is going to vote for him at the end?
Since when?
Since when?
Since when?
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know. It's so interesting. There seems to be a real disparity this season between how we understand the players and how they understand each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's making it really hard for me to understand their decision making.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to just come back to Charlie, because I feel like that the thing that was so interesting in this episode was that Maria winning immunity, I feel really changed this, because Charlie was positioned where he was set up, that he did a thing that I thought was so interesting, where in a season where so many people are vying for credit, I need the credit, it was my move, Charlie is the only person that I've seen that is giving the credit to, oh, that was Maria's move, that wasn't me. And I really think that that's such an interesting idea for where where Survivor is right now. And I love that style of play of like, I don't want to take any credit, and then when I get to the end, I can explain it, but I guess people have to believe you.
Right, and that is where I do feel pretty nervous for Charlie about this vote. I mean, we are watching the version of Charlie where we see him explaining and really talking through all his decisions where it's all seeming really logical. But as it was mentioned, you know, people are talking about Charlie as a court jester and a pawn for Maria. And at the end of the day, in this move, you know, he hyped up all the other players of, I'm ready to make a move, I'm ready to make a move. You know how excited that makes you as one of the players. And then for him to then ultimately just do the thing that everyone expected that Maria would obviously want, it doesn't ultimately look good for him. So I think he really, if he is in that final three, it's really going to be a tough, he's going to really need to sell it, which we've seen from his confessionals he can do, but it's an uphill battle, I feel like.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're at the final three, you can definitely, not that I've been there, I don't know, but like you can definitely shift people's perceptions of you, but I do not think you can flip people's perceptions of you. Like if people get there and have this idea that Charlie is meek, Charlie was a follower, it will be really, really hard for him to change that mindset once he gets there. Like he really needs to start planting those roots now, and I'm actually nervous that we're getting to the point where it might be too late.
I do hear what you're saying, but I think that like the meta of the new era kind of is to make your move at the exact right time. I think you have like Marianne is a good example of that. And so we still have one more normal vote, too. And so if Charlie knows like what to do, then it's possible that he could make that game-winning move right at the right time and bring what we were just saying into Final Tribal.
I think it needs to be next time.
He has to do it, yeah.
Well, and that is where it's stressful because, you know, he's got this fine line. If he wants Q and Maria out before the 4, it's got to be perfect from here. You know.
It really is hard, I think, in this new era of that you like almost like have to like choreograph exactly like where the explosions happen like in the game, because I think for Charlie, he could have like potentially, and again, all the votes were on Venus, and then the one Ben vote was, I think, a shot in the dark protection. So I don't know how really realistic that 4-person vote against Q might have been. But for Charlie, like, is that his big move? Because now Maria's still there. Like, if you vote out Maria and you're Charlie, okay, that's my big move. I can take credit for that. But can Charlie really take credit for my big move is now voting out Q? And now Maria has the opportunity to really poison the well against Charlie. It's just not a clean takeout to vote out Q at the final 7.
I think it all depends on the attitude of the jurors. Like, for example, if, you know, Charlie takes out Maria next time, if she is, like, psyched about him, psyched about their alliance, wants him to, like, represent what they did in the game, then she could be a really good person to have for him on the jury if he can make it to the end. If she feels, these are my moves, Charlie just followed me, then she's the worst person to have on the jury for him. So that's where it like really comes into play, like how and when you send certain people to the jury and what they think about you when they're leaving.
Yeah, and there's the point as well that Maria could think she has Charlie right where she wants him, and that she would beat him in a final 3. He wouldn't be able to explain the moves. She would have all the credit in the world. So that could put her guard down a little bit and give Charlie the opportunity to strike. And to your point earlier about flipping perception at Final Tribal Council, I mean,
yeah,
for me,
sorry, I was talking about you, Owen. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean, I didn't help my case by saying like, yeah, I did terrible, but still, it is really difficult, and the way the jury is like structured these days and the questions they are asking, like, we had a very specific question on my jury that was, what move did you take sole credit for? And I had been involved in the blind side on James. Noelle and I used to steal a vote, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to stay there and be like, oh, yeah, that was all my idea, because it wasn't. So it's really frustrating to be put in that position to where you're trying to articulate your game through the lens of what someone else is looking at, and it can be really difficult. So yeah, I think the clock is ticking.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Does the as jurors, like, do you like need to hear a solo move from a person? Like, does being part of a move, does that count? Does that move the needle?
I want to yap about this because I have a strong opinion. I think that anything that you participate in or choose not to participate in the game of Survivor counts as a move. Any decision you make is a move. It just depends on how well you can explain it, because honestly, Charlie could go up there and say, if I hadn't gone along with some of Maria's ideas, they wouldn't have gotten off the ground, like they wouldn't have happened. I think that, like, depending on how you push it, anything can be a move, and I feel like it's people get kind of like myopic about wanting to have something be so strongly theirs. And as we saw with Maria, if she hadn't won immunity, that could have gotten her out this week, just from being so like focused on that. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's like, I think people are a little too, they're on the resume, you know, they're too hyped on the resume.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think what we see throughout all the seasons of Survivor is you're playing the game with the people that are there, and the jury is made up of the people that are there. So if everyone in the season, which we've seen, is saying, this is how we're judging it, this is what we respect, I mean, Maria's getting tons of respect from everybody in the game, and that's extremely clear. And extreme props to Maria for winning the immunity when she really, really needed it.
That looked hard too.
Yeah.
That looked really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, like, yeah, I feel like that's not how I was viewing it. That's not necessarily how I was voting. But clearly, if you're hearing that that's what everyone is going to vote on, you have to pay attention to that.
To your point, Evie, I think that's a huge part of the social game now, is not just reading each individual person, but picking up on the ethos of the whole season and how, like, the groupthink works to a degree. I mean, groupthink is a little reductive, but, like, just the social contract was such a big part of my season, and just, it's hard to pick up on, and you might pick up on it too late. So I think they're collectively deciding that the resume, the ownership of moves is very important to them, and we're seeing it in all these confessionals. And it makes me wonder how those questions are being posed behind the scenes. It's like, so whose move was this? Was this your idea? Was that Charlie's idea? Was that Maria's idea? So I wonder if they're being prompted a little bit as well.
I mean, is there groupthink possible on that jury? I don't know. We'll see. But I think that this jury is going to be extremely difficult to navigate. But when we're talking about, like, telling everyone that it's your move, right? I can empathize with that. You want to go up there and, like, show, like, you can peacock at that point, right? But I always think in my season when Dee was in Final Tribal and we were sitting on the jury watching the idol move being like, what the hell is she doing? Like,
what the heck, guys?
What the hell, guys? And we were so confused and like bummed. And then when she was at Final Tribal, she's like, can I say something? It almost added more power to the move. The fact that she was able to have that restraint let us maybe think that she was a little dumb for a second and then, you know, pulled the dagger right at the right moment.
Right. And I feel like that really does get to also like the difference in play styles, whereas like Erica in my season was playing a quieter game on the island, but then in front of, in the jury, you know, in front of us in the jury, she was often speaking so well and, you know, really recovered from Deshaun's truth bomb throwback. And so, you know, we needed to see that because she was playing that quieter game, and so it did like up her game where you have someone like Dee who's playing such a dominant game out there that, you know, maybe she can get away with that.
You know, I want to talk about the reward or the immunity challenge that Maria won. She had to pick two other people to go with her to have pizza. Franny, you were in a position where that you, at the final 8, got to pick people to go to the sanctuary. Now, first off, you didn't get Applebee's.
No. I had some shitty tacos. I would have killed for Applebee's, and I would have eaten the bourbon burger, okay? What were these people doing? They didn't even eat it? Come on.
Yeah. Can I admit, just real quick on Applebee's? Like, I know, like, it got, like, it was in the episode that it was almost like it got, like negative advertising, that so many people came up saying, like, Applebee's is so terrible. Let me tell you how much I hate Applebee's. It's fine, right?
All I know is I thought about Applebee's 1,000% more this week than I ever have in my life. So,
but so Franny, could you just talk a little bit about? Okay, so you're a person who you had won challenges before. Like, do you have in your head the people already that are going to go with you for a reward? And does this throw you off to have an immunity challenge where you have to pick people?
Oh, that's an interesting question. You probably should have those people in your head. I didn't. I was just excited. But yeah, I really empathize with Maria's moment where she just kind of like froze and couldn't decide who to pick because I think it's so, so stressful. What I will say about that though is like, I think it is a really, really hard decision. But to me, picking Liz feels like actually a really easy choice because it's so obvious how much she's been struggling. And it's almost something that it seems like everyone on the tribe would be able to get behind. It's almost like a neutral choice. Like you can just say like, well, Liz was starving. Like it had nothing to do with strategy. So yeah, I was surprised that she didn't go with that.
So Maria mentioned like, well, Liz just got rice, and she gave some to Venus. Like, did Liz getting rice, did that make it easier to say no about Liz?
I mean, I think that's something you can latch onto, certainly. I don't want to speak for Maria's thought process, obviously, but yeah, that can be an easy point to say, well, she did have food.
I mean she was napping during the idol hunt. I don't think she's good. Like, I think she's still really hungry.
She hasn't pooped in 3 weeks.
She hasn't pooped in 3 weeks.
That's pretty concerning.
Yes.
As a nurse,
as a medical opinion.
Someone get her some Senna. Come on.
But it made me realize though, like at our final 6 reward challenge, we randomly drew teams. And now in hindsight, that pisses me off because this was so dramatic and such good television. And I do feel for Maria because that's like an impossible choice. And I think it's Steven who has said before, like you can't win the game based on who you pick, but you can lose it based on who you pick. And I am nervous just because it came up again in front of the jury at Tribal Council. And then that story is getting told and people will start telling it as they get to Ponderosa, and I'm worried of the ramifications of it lasting far beyond that meal.
And with all these pickings, there's not just the individual that is upset at not being picked. There's the group of people that is there back at camp commiserating together. And I know Xander talked about this so well in our season, like the losers having that time to like bond and just be like, fuck those people, And we've seen that Liz gets very upset when you don't pick her, and so you're creating a situation where people are going to be really, really complaining about you, and it's tough. But also, you kind of want to pick the people you want to pick, so it's a tough spot. I'm so glad I never got to pick anyone. Phew.
Champagne problems.
It was just like, but it's an interesting spot too with Maria because she also has the protection of having the immunity necklace in that spot. So it's a very tough spot for her. But like ultimately, like, did it cost her?
I think it did cost her, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I think she already has Q in the bank, whatever, in the bank vault, locked up, never getting out. So she didn't really necessarily need to bring Q to like win him over. And so I feel like she had a lot of opportunity to, grab a Liz or Venus or whoever she's thinking of. Even if she wants to send Venus home, bring Venus on the reward, make her feel comfortable, something like that. I mean, you're in the moment, it's super hard. I completely sympathize with that, but I think maybe there was a little bit missed opportunity there.
Well, I'm just thinking like if she had brought like a Liz or a Venus, you're leaving back at camp. From her perspective, her number 1 and her number 2, Q and Charlie, like what plan against her would, I mean, I guess she has immunity, but like it's harder for people to strategize against her for the next vote if she has these 2 people who she really trusts back at camp, so like that could have been helpful too.
Yeah. It does seem like, a major consequence of this from how they presented it in the show is it really like demonstrated the closeness of Q and Maria. And something that in general I've been thinking about is it's been kind of confusing as an audience member to understand what the perception of Q is, and it seems like it's getting very negative, and I'm almost worried if we're having like, if Q is the Russell and Maria's the Parvati who gets that like stink on her from that.
Oh,
I'm wondering if that's a path we're potentially going down.
Yeah, for Charlie, that so much of this has been talked about with the I have to vote out my number 1 ally. That can Charlie win if he doesn't take out Maria?
I think if he's there with Maria, he's in a lot of trouble. Yeah. I think it's going to be hard for him to differentiate at that point. Like, it's so late. And I think if he doesn't have a hand in taking her out, then he will maintain exactly what I said before, that perception that he's meek, he maybe can't make a strong move. So I do think he has to.
Completely agree. And I think differentiation is the key word you just said, Franny, because it's not necessarily about building the resume. It's about being able to separate yourself and have a different pitch at the very end. And so if you're both sitting there, I completely agree with you.
Well, and that's why Kenzie said it on the show. Like, that's why it's actually great that Tiff got voted out for Kenzie's game, because they were playing a similar game too. So it kind of helps. And I think like earlier on, it's okay if you're not involved in getting out your number 1, because then you have time to make your own way. But this late in the game, I do feel like it has to be him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I do just like, I love Charlie. He lives in Boston. It's so great. And I'm like, this episode was about Maria, but we heard it all from Charlie. And I just, that's the story they're telling. And it does feel like eventually that blind side is probably coming. But yeah, Maria had a good episode ultimately. She wins the immunity. Everyone's coming for her. She wins it. And like now all her people are left. So I don't know.
I mean, Maria is hands down the person to beat right now. And it's really just going to come down to, like, it seems like to me, Charlie is the only person that can stop Maria. But I also wonder that if Charlie stops Maria, I think that other people can stop Charlie. For any of the other people to win, like they kind of need Charlie to take out Maria, and then one of them can take out Charlie and be the person to beat.
Yeah. I think that's why Charlie is, tempted right now to keep Maria as long as he can, because then he's absolutely the next target after she goes, I think.
Yeah, and I do think it sets up a very interesting scenario, Owen, that it's like a real Jesse and Cody final 6 scenario with Charlie as the Jesse of could he take out the person who's his number 1 ally, but then also make himself vulnerable to lose the game.
100%. I was just about to bring that up because I was thinking about it. Jesse's move to take out Cody wasn't necessarily looking at it as like his winning move, it was his not losing move. Like if he was there with Cody probably wins. I mean, Jesse certainly could have articulated whatever, but I think he viewed it more as like, I cannot go to the end with Cody no matter what, but doing it at 6 left the door open for us little swamp rats at the bottom to band together and take him out. But here's the thing with Charlie. Charlie can win a challenge. I love you, Jesse, if you're listening, but a challenge beast, he is not. And so that
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast, yes, he loves Mr. Beast, but not a challenge beast. But
time to get out the licorice in here.
But that's what Charlie has going for him.
Hold on.
He's prepared.
All right, I do have something different here tonight. I was gonna bring popcorn from the concessions, but I do have a Twizzler, and I thought that for being such great people on the panel.
Do we have to share one, Rob? Or is this
one Twizzler for the panel.
What the hell?
You can share it.
Feeling generous.
You can share it however you want. It divides very easily for
Rob,
ways.
Maybe, can you
Back
rock,
in
paper,
my
scissors?
I gotta save some of these Twizzlers for the other panel. Okay, but really, I want to thank this first group. You did such a great job starting the show.
Thank you.
Anything else? I don't want to cut anybody off. Yes. Well
also,
done.
Venus getting voted out with an idol. Come on. Cancel Christmas. Take down the Christmas tree. That was your 3 in a row.
To quote
Y'all are
D,
gonna
you
talk
say,
about it, but that's
well,
crazy.
damn, you should have played it.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, Kelly. What's better? What the hell, guys, or what the heck, you hoe bags?
You know what? I'm ready to pass the torch to Liz on the iconic line, what the heck, you hoe bags?
Yeah.
It's hard to beat.
I think we can combine it. What the hell,
What
hoe
the
bags?
hell, you hoe bag?
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
right.
Put that on a t-shirt.
All right, give it up for this first group. Okay, thank you all. Yeah. Also, this crowd, you're so good. This is the biggest crowd we've ever had, and you're doing amazing. This is incredible. All right, let's bring out our next group. Check this out. You know, here comes Sifu with a torch. What's up, man? How are you doing? How are you? Here's J. Maya. Here's Austin. And here's Heidi. Okay. Here we go. Okay, yeah, you can sit there. Here, hand me my cards. Yeah. Okay. All right. How's everybody doing?
great?
Okay, here, hold on. Here's your Twizzler for the group.
Each get our own.
Are we sharing?
Can I get like my own?
Okay, you can just break that up however you want. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Venus. Okay, we haven't really talked about Venus tonight. First off, yeah, you got it, Sifu. Okay, Venus was the latest person this season to go home with an idol in her pocket. Okay. Austin, you had idols. Heidi, you had idols. Sifu and Jemaya,
Fake
you're
idol.
here with us tonight. Okay? But what is it with this cast that this is the 4th person to get voted out with an idol, the 5th person to go home? I think frickin' Jelinski put a curse on these people. Several people are going to go home with an idol. It's going to happen.
What is wrong with them? Listen, I was so excited when Venus said, I'm not going to tell anybody, but I have something up my sleeve. And it's like, no. I think she sent herself home today because of that.
Yeah.
You know, I think the last time an idol was played correctly was Julie on my season.
That's how long it's been.
Mama J!
Using my own idol. So I'm thankful to be a part of that at least.
my gosh. I want to take a second and shout out Venus's poker face after she got the idol today, which I thought was incredible, and how she immediately joined the search. I think she did that whole thing right, to not arouse suspicion. I think it would have been very hard for me to keep a stone face about that. There was a moment where she had a very hilarious gym moment to the camera that I very much appreciated. But I similarly got my hopes up when she said she wasn't going to tell anyone about it, and then she had that conversation with Charlie, and the whole time I was like, oh, no.
Well, you know, I would love to get the sense of it that, Heidi, you said you thought that she went home because of that.
Yeah.
You feel like that if she doesn't say anything, do you think Q goes home?
Yes, I think there was a good chance that if she didn't talk about that, because you can tell Charlie was really conflicted. Do I go with her? Do I not? Whatever. And I'm sure he did whatever is best for his game, not hers. But I truly think just putting that seed there, he's like, okay, she's got to go. She knows something I don't know, so therefore she's got to go. So I truly think that she put a seed into Charlie to think, you know, she just has to leave. Tell me more or go home.
No,
I think.
Well, I believe that moment was unsettling, and so Charlie probably went around and told everybody what he felt, and in Survivor, it's just one little thing that can change everything. So
I think, you know, every player who goes into Survivor goes into it like saying, I'm not going to tell anybody about anything that I find.
Yeah.
But that never happens. I mean, I was one of those people, I'm like, I'm not telling a single person, and then like my entire tribe knew by like day 7, and like.
Right.
So,
but Venus had this opportunity that, like, the idols that were found early in your season and in the pre-merge, you know, they require cooperation. Other people, like, have to know about them. But Venus had the idol that, like you found, Heidi, like Marianne found, where you can find an idol after the merge and nobody needs to know about it.
Yeah, I really love the scene of her just pulling the clam down, and she's like, "Come on!" and Kenzie had no idea. Like, really, is she looking even? You know?
Yeah.
I love that moment.
Because Heidi, people said that you played an idol, and people were like, "Well, why'd she play it then? She didn't need it."
Right. Well, I feel great that I didn't go home with mine.
Yeah.
So whether I played it right or wrong, although you never really. It's hard to see everything that's happening there, right? Yeah. So for me, it was the right move because I knew I was going to survive. For all of them, they're like, I'm going to survive next week or next time, next tribal council. For me, it was about being in the moment. And clearly, these people were thinking like 2 steps ahead without thinking the first step. They were like stumbling the first step and they went home with an idol.
There's a huge fear of playing your idol incorrectly. I mean, it's just like such a humiliating feeling. You're going up, you're playing it, you're like, okay, cool, no votes are red on you or whatever. And it's just like, this is on TV, the jury just saw this. Like, you might as well just go home at that point, right?
No way.
No, dude.
I'd much rather that than going home and be like, here you go, I went home with the idol. No.
I played it wrong too, so.
I think something that really intrigues me about that, and you said it was an opportunity. I think obviously, you know, there were a lot of opportunities there. A big one is to really have solidified that Venus-Charlie connection, and I find that conversation so fascinating because you can tell that they both desperately want to work with each other, but she says something that trust goes both ways, and this was the vote that she needed to really be convinced to be, you know, working with him to the end, and it just seemed like it didn't click on this vote, and you can see in Charlie's, he's like, aren't we close now? I want to trust you, but that conversation was just cagey enough that he couldn't bring himself to take the risk.
Do you think that if Venus told Charlie flat out, hey, I have an idol, we can use this, do you think that he would have wanted to keep her? But
no, she would have had to play it.
Yeah.
She could have done that, but she had to play it at the moment. But she could have gained some trust if she did something like that, right? Like, okay, balls to the wall, I'm just playing it, right? I'm telling someone so I can gain some allies.
Probably if she told him earlier, though, right?
Yeah.
Not before tribal.
I think if you make it that far in the game and you don't trust someone, showing someone an idol, I don't know if that is enough to get them to trust you.
But if you show it, play it. Play it.
Yeah.
We've seen this season, 4 people went home because they didn't play it.
Were you surprised that no shot in the dark came up tonight? It was the last night to play the shot in the dark. We saw that Ben had the Kenzie vote, which I'm guessing was a shot in the dark protection.
You think it was shot in the dark, or was it maybe like an idol?
Or she plays the idol. Or she plays the idol. Yeah.
All I can say
like a safety net.
Oh, yes, definitely. And always good to put the hinky vote. I learned the hard way my season that sometimes, you got to account for it. So I was,
Now, were you surprised that this vote, like after last week, we saw Tiffany go out, and then it seemed like, okay, well, like who was tight with Tiffany that was left out of the vote? There was Kenzie also, but it seemed like that Kenzie's name didn't come up. I do wonder, like, was it that Venus did so well in the challenge? How did Venus jump Kenzie in the order to take people out?
I think it's kind of interesting, like, when one person does kind of like pretty well on a challenge, they're immediately like, this is the biggest challenge threat for the rest of the game.
She's the biggest threat.
Like, I mean, Q, like, hello? Like, it's like, are you not no longer a challenge threat because you didn't do well in one challenge? Like, how does that work?
And she was last with the ball at like the first part. She was totally last, and somehow she's like a threat for the challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to kind of touch on something that was being touched on earlier, which is that Charlie has won 2 immunities this season, and it just seems like he's not even on people's radar.
I know.
Charlie's sneaking around.
And it goes
Gonna
to
end up in the top, baby.
Yes, very much. It goes to something that I think Franny was saying earlier that I thought was really smart, and it's just about how big move-itis has been this common theme of the season, and Charlie is a player who is doing the little things right on a season where there are a lot of players who value the big moves. And that's interesting to me because, as was being discussed, when we come to a Final 3 situation, it's like, I don't know, this is a bit of a random metaphor, but last year I got to see the Mona Lisa in person for the first time.
Yes.
And it's painted in this style where there are these little strokes, and when you look at it up close, you can't tell, is it an arm, is it a leg, is it an eye? But then when you take a step back, you look at it, and it's this beautiful big picture. And with Charlie, I'm like, can he actually translate that in a Final 3 speech into saying, this is my game? And he can't do that if Maria is next to him, which is why this vote was so important. And I think he really wanted Venus to like have somebody basically to move out of the Maria connection with. And that's why Venus went home, because he wanted to work with her, and she just stressed him out a little bit too much.
That was an incredible metaphor.
Oh, thank you.
That was beautiful.
It's beautiful. I want to take that metaphor and hang it in the Louvre.
So do you think they ate 23 slices? Was it Q that said that? What do you think?
23 slices of pizza. Are we buying that?
I am.
23 slices of pizza?
Definitely. I would
think
do
so
that in a
too.
heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, they had what, like 7 boxes? It looked like they finished the whole thing. So
I feel like these Survivor
Austin,
pizzas
could
are
you do
small.
23 sandwiches, bro?
His stomach was already big from the Applebee's, right?
First thing in Pondy, just unlimited sandwiches.
He just had Applebee's. he just had a Bourbon Street Burger.
Yeah. Although he didn't eat it. They didn't eat it, remember?
I feel so much pain for Liz. I mean, get that sandwich revenge. Let's do this,
Yes.
Liz.
That's right!
Sifu, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, you were the rocker of season 45. What do you think of the chief rocker in season 46?
Woo, Ben!
Listen, Ben is phenomenal. He's my spirit animal. He's authentically himself, and I'm enjoying the vibes and potentially working on a track. Who knows? Who knows? But I think we're just 2 rockers. We just enjoy being ourselves and having a good time. But he's playing a great game. He also is.
You think
sneaking.
you two could jam one day?
I think we could jam.
Is this a Survivor 50 pregame?
I think so. I mean,
Wait, no, I want to talk about that. Like,
Okay, oh, yes,
there's,
okay,
there's
who-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's make it official for
All
everyone
right,
here.
this is it.
Okay.
Survivor 50, let's go.
Yeah. And J-Maya, would you join in on that jam session?
I would be honored to join in. In Drew's language, I would say I would view it from an anthropological distance, because they are incredible rock stars. I could never channel that energy, and I would just watch it and then maybe join if I was lucky.
I got a chance to actually jam out with J-Maya. Now listen to this. J-Maya came to St. Louis, and that's where I live, and she hit me up, and she was like, hey, you want to hang out? I'm playing a show. I was like, cool. When is it? Hour and a half. Do you want to play? I was like, yeah. Send me the song. So literally headed to the show, learning the songs, doing my exit press at the same time, and then we jam out. So
Only
it is amazing.
survivors could do that. That's like you find out the plan on the way to tribal.
Yeah.
Like, all right, the sun's going
It's
down.
literally on the way to
Sifu, here's the
tribal.
vote.
It's hard to believe, but Sifu just had 2 hours of sleep last night. And look at him. I mean, wow.
Sifu is the new dad.
I am
Yes,
the new dad.
congratulations.
Yes. The 7th RHAP member.
Oh, several. Yeah.
Oh, several? Jelinsky, where are you?
Long live Jelinsky.
Okay. Anything else here?
What else? Let's just stick here until
No, we
take
have to
over.
Hang out.
I have another panel that's
thank you
waiting
for
to
having
load
us.
in, okay?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's give it up for Seafood,
Thank you all.
Jay, Austin, and Heidi. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
y'all.
All right. Staying on track. We're doing great. All right, here we go. Here comes, we've got Brando. We've got Jake. Katora. And all the way from Australia, Eileen. Okay. All right. Katora, you get to decide how many Twizzlers. How many Twizzlers does this group get?
Definitely more than the last one. So,
Okay.
Good answer. 2 at least.
2.
I'm fine with that. Right?
2?
All right, 1 for this
More
side.
than 2? You could have said any number in the world.
And 1 for this side.
Obviously, Jake, we think differently.
You guys still can't get on the same page.
What are they doing?
Yes. All right, how's everybody doing?
I'm freaking out.
Yes.
I'm here on holiday.
You're here.
And now I'm on stage. I've been
Okay.
listening to your podcast forever.
Eileen.
And so many of us in Australia are obsessed with what you've created. And hopefully this has steamrolled something for our country. And we just love you. And we love all of you.
Thank you so much.
God.
Wow.
Wow. How you feeling?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about what's going on. Katura, what's your reaction to this tonight?
Freaking 4 in a row. 4 in a row not playing their idols. I don't know. I mean, I never found one, so I don't know what it feels like. But I feel like I would have played it.
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, I'm glad that, okay, Jake and Katura, you're here because that there was that moment, that interaction.
Are you
between-
just bringing up traumas? Like, what?
I mean, we're here.
For no reason?
We could talk
Katura,
about
that's
other
what it sounds
parts
like
of the
to me.
season, but there was that, okay, Venus has an idol. I want to do something with it.
Yes.
She tells Charlie, like, I got something. Like, I don't want to say exactly what it is. So there's some similarity between where you two were at the Final 5. Like, how hard is that to, like, okay, like, hey, just trust me on this. I got something. Don't worry, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, Venus knows if she gets to the final 3, she's not winning. It's not a secret to her. She is aware of that. So I think then the gears start turning of, hey, what do I want to do? How can I not only save myself, of course, like an idol can save yourself, but how is it a tool to propel her, to give her some equity? I think that's the big question, and that's what she should try to do. I think that's the optimal thing for Venus to do. Did she do that the correct way? I mean, clearly, being results-oriented, that didn't happen. Didn't happen for me either. But, you know, that's what happens.
But I think there's some, like, right? You have an idol. You want to make sure that you play it in a really good way. You don't want to just play it for yourself. But you can get so lost in big move-itis, and I gotta flash it. Like, the whole time Venus was talking to Charlie, I was like, shut up, shut up, shut up, don't tell him. It's better, I think, to be that secret, quiet, sly underdog.
Yeah.
If she hadn't told him, Charlie would have pulled her in the Final 4, and the vote would have been cute.
She was so close. She was so close to having that, and it just felt like it slipped right out of her fingers.
Well, Brenda, why do you think she did tell Charlie?
I mean, you know, I think there's a degree of, you know, equity, like Jake was saying, for, you know, sort of using it for more than just an idol. But at the end of the day, you got to remember, an idol's an idol. If you don't play it like an idol, it's not going to matter. So.
Yeah. Eileen, what do you think?
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Who here watched Australian Survivor Tyson?
We all
Ferris.
Yeah.
He showed off his idol to everyone, or at least he talked about it. And
Yeah.
that caused a lot of like chaos in itself. And there was like this mysterious blanket about whether he has one or not. And that actually really propelled him deep into the game. So I wonder if Venus could have mentioned and stated the fact that she had the idol, and maybe that would have caused a bit more chaos, especially her. And then maybe they would have wanted to vote out Q so that there's no backlash.
Yeah, that almost never happens in American Survivor.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like,
I was
"Oh,
gonna
I got the
say.
idols. I'm squirreling them away, and like I'll tell some people about them, but I'm never gonna play them. I promise." And then, but in Australian Survivor, there's so much like, "Hey, I've got my idol. I'm playing it tonight, and I'm making a big move with it." I do wonder if we might see after this season, maybe it might shift a little bit more, where either people are gonna just play the idols faster, or just not tell anybody ever.
Not tell. That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
Also, Venus in such a different position than Ferris. Like,
oh, totally.
I don't even think she has the power in that dynamic, in that tribe dynamic, to say like, "Here's my idol," and then people actually be afraid. Like, I feel like it would push people to be like, "All right, well, it's tonight for you, Venus."
Mm-hmm. I still think that, you know, what Eileen brought up is a fair statement.
Yeah, if Ferris is celebrated as the most, one of the best winners of Australian Survivor history, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good for him.
What else do you see different about this Survivor 46 cast in game that is different from what the Survivor 45 cast was thinking about Survivor?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go for it.
Because
yeah.
it's interesting to me
You go,
because you have
Jake.
mostly the same information going out there, but it seems like that this group looks at the game differently.
Definitely, right? I think that we're looking at all this stuff about idols. I think that here's what you do with an idol. That's incorrect. To make a flatline rule on what you do with idols is wildly incorrect. It's going to be situational based every single time. So I think when you look at a situation like Venus, it's not a question of, wow, she made the mistake that you should never do. Was it right in this circumstance? Did she implement it correctly? I think that's the conversation that should be had versus, look, if you want to talk about not telling people about idols, Reba dominated because they unified themselves over an idol.
You also told them, too, about
What?
your Final Five idol.
Damn, if only we voted out T. Oh, jeez. But look, I think the point is that it's so unbelievably circumstantial.
Yeah,
It's that to say that there's a flat line rule, I think, is just blatantly incorrect.
You know, I want to ask the 45ers, okay? Jeff has gotten spicier, okay? He took out the knife, he cut the rice, and something snapped.
Exactly. He's
And
not been the same since.
He hasn't been the same
He
since.
hasn't.
And now he's bringing all these props to Tribal Council. He's bringing a cushion. He's bringing popcorn. He brought the Twizzlers tonight. Brando, what are we doing?
I mean, you know, I think the number one thing on Jeff's mind right now is how do we keep Liz alive if she's not eating these rewards? What can we do to get a little bit of sustenance in her body? And, you know, you say he's getting a little harder, but bringing out the cushion, I think he's getting kind of soft. I don't know.
Soft cushion, yeah. He brought the one Twizzler and said, everybody, you all can take one bite of this Twizzler.
Because he knew he was doing too much with that popcorn last tribal. I was like, they got popcorn? Are you kidding me? So I think he was trying to make up for the Twizzler.
Mhm.
But honestly, I feel like the biggest difference between 45 and 46 is they tell it like it is.
Yes.
Like if they don't like somebody, they are saying, I don't like you. And I'm pissed. You're going to know I'm pissed. I'm like, if I could only. Like, I remember.
I'm sorry, is there someone that you didn't like? Is there someone that you didn't like on 45?
I
don't
thought
know.
she liked everybody. I don't know. Is this 45?
I mean, look, as someone who went on day 11, I don't know if I can talk about, you know, the rest of the game. So
I don't
You
know.
can.
I can't talk. I don't know.
Strong 11 days before.
One of my favorite parts of the night was that, okay, so after Maria picked everybody for the pizza and Liz didn't get picked, Liz came back and said, you know what? I'm not going to keep my feelings inside anymore.
Exactly.
Let it go. Yeah.
I'm not
Let it
gonna.
out.
I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm
That's
not,
what I'm
you know what?
talking about.
After today, I'm not just gonna like keep it inside how I'm feeling, which I thought was interesting after the last episode.
I'm sorry, is there a specific moment you're referring to in the last episode?
But I mean, honestly, to be able to blow up like that
Yeah.
in front of your tribe for, yes, Liz has a lot of dietary restrictions, but in reality, this is a very typical Survivor scenario. I don't get picked for a reward, and I wanted to go on the reward. I was starving.
Mhm.
To be able to blow up like that and have everybody still being like, Liz, we support you.
Her
I
name
think
doesn't
she
come
knows,
up.
Yeah, she knows she's allowed to. Like, they love her.
Yeah. I want to say something about Venus also that was interesting. That we started to hear tonight a little bit about like people felt like, okay, Venus is doing too much. And that's, it seems like that's the biggest thing that made her a target, where they felt like, okay, nobody could work with her because she was going to tell the plan to everybody. And that was the thing that made her the most dangerous to this group. Whereas Q, the new Q, is like nobody wants to vote him out because he's not doing anything. Liz, nobody's worried about Liz. Kenzie, they don't worry about Kenzie or Ben. But Venus, she tells everybody the plan. We can't work with her anymore.
You know, I think that's one of the things that might not be great for her gameplay, but that's something that makes her such an amazing Survivor character. Because it's so much fun to watch, and it's so refreshing to see, you know, Venus bringing that to the table.
Well, I think like the thing about like, because obviously me and Venus are in a very similar spot, like
Yes.
Survivor 45 and Survivor 46. I mean, do you want to see Venus do nothing? I mean, I think the problem with Venus, and like a problem that I've ran into as well, it's a problem at finding that sweet spot. And you know what? The reality is that sometimes it's not always there. You try to find it, and sometimes it happens, and sometimes it doesn't. Was it there? I don't know. Could have been.
Yeah. But
What is that?
What?
Yeah,
Like, no, I guess my point is, like, was there an opportunity to get in and then make something happen? I don't know. Like, personally, like, at my point, like, in my season, I don't think so. Was it there for Venus? I mean, I don't know. I think the other people who are actually on the season can answer
I
that.
think the potential would have been there if she hadn't bragged to Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was her closest way in.
I think the good thing about Venus being open is at least it causes everybody to think about their own game, and maybe they're not saying it out loud either, but then it's like, hang on, she's saying the truth a lot of the time and calling people out.
Yes.
And
And
so
they're just not listening to her.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and like, how am I gonna play this game moving forward because of what Venus is saying?
Yeah, no, it's something I think that's been very interesting about Survivor 46 and Venus and the other people that have really spoken their mind. Where so much of the new era has been, oh, I'm gonna like play it close to the vest, and I'm gonna use metaphors, and I'm not really gonna talk about what's going on. And I do feel like that for whatever reason, this cast is cracked, and they just say
it
what's
like
on their
it
mind.
is, yes.
We like that.
There's something so freeing in that, too, though.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank this group, Brando, Jake, Couture, Eileen. Thank you. You were amazing. Okay? I'll see you later on tonight. Anything else?
I just love that. I mean, we love Eileen here, but this is like, you got a lot of bellow here.
Yeah, I mean, for the audio listeners, you know, we're rocking it up here, so it's been great. Rob looking fantastic, by the way. Hello?
Oh, thank you.
He's hot.
Whoa.
He's on fire.
Whoa,
He's on fire.
sorry, Rob.
Yeah, well, thank you. All right, thanks. Give it up, okay? All right. This is really, it's the biggest crowd. I think this is also the best crowd. It's a good crowd. It's a good crowd. Okay, all right. We've got here with us, all right, welcome in. Here's Dwight, Sarah, Lindsay, Darnell, and Claire. Look at this. Darnell, how you doing, man? What's up? Okay. All right. How's everybody doing?
Good. Oh, God.
Okay. All right. Darnell, how many Twizzlers for this group? Four. Okay.
Several.
I like it. Several. Four or several. Make up your mind. Okay. Here, I'll pass them out to the group. Okay. All right. Dwight, talk to me about tonight. How did you see it?
I was intrigued to see mainly how the vote came to be completely unanimous, outside of the Ben vote on Kenzie, which seemed like just a safety vote, shot in the dark and idle play. But I don't, maybe I missed, I'm not sure when it became everyone's in on this vote besides Venus, of course. And I hope they explain that more in the next episode, see how that came along, you know, if they just decided all as a group. We can't let Venus get to the end, which intrigues me because I don't think, we've been talking about it doesn't seem like Venus is like the major threat to win when you hit the final three. So I'm intrigued of why they all decided unanimously to vote her out at this point when you're getting close to the end game.
Yeah, I think that Maria really wants to have order, and I feel like that Q is doing a good job. That the Maria and Q relationship is just so interesting, where that you would have thought that they're sort of maybe like unlikely allies, but for whatever reason, Maria and Q just click. Charlie is like a good soldier. He's following along with the plan, and then they don't want these people that are sort of like this chaotic energy around. And it's so interesting that it was Venus that got picked to be the person to go home. Claire, you know a thing about chaotic energy, right?
Me? What? No way. No. Top hat. Keep going.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What do you want me to say? I'm doing great.
Yeah. What did you think about the decision to send home Venus at this point?
Boo.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I definitely thought it was a decision, and there were a lot of things that went into it. I personally think, like, if you're really clocking all of that, like, I think Charlie had a lot going on, and, like, I think he made a decision, and it will work to get him further along. I don't know if it's, like, a winning decision, but it definitely is, like, feels like a safe way to get to the final. And I feel like it was a great way to keep Shield in, but again, it's like, if people are getting frustrated that don't think he's making moves, that they don't think he's doing anything, then, like, if you're thinking about your resume or, like, an outfit, you might as well, like, get a, like, nice little top hat.
A top hat?
Yeah.
Do you think that if you dressed up like a Mr. Peanut at the
Yeah,
Final
like, I feel
Tribal
like
Council-
Maria's, like, Mr. Monopoly Man, and, like, Q is her top hat.
So I want to follow this. Maria is the
This
Monopoly.
is why I never made it through a tribal.
Maria is the Monopoly Man, and Q is the Monopoly Man's hat.
Yes. And then Charlie's like, Ben's like the thimble.
Okay, we need to workshop this before we come on stage next time. We'll go through the analogy.
I just like, I don't know how you're not seeing the top hat, Dwight.
You know, you got it.
Darnell, I'm so happy that you're here.
Rob, it's been a long time. Hey, Chicago, you need to stand up. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, everybody. I know y'all want them to come back. But I'm just Venus. Everybody was like, oh, I'm Venus fan. Let everybody know right now.
Yes.
Big Venus fan.
Yes.
That's hard to see another idol. What is that, like 4 in a row, right? What's going on?
Let's see. It was, so there was Jem, and then Mariah didn't have an idol. And then after that, then Soda didn't have an idol. Tevin didn't have an idol. But then Hunter, and then 3 in a row.
And kind of Randon, right?
Randon way back when. Way back when, yeah. As a a throwback to Kaôh Rōng that we had a medical evacuation.
A lot of them.
Yes.
We had a lot of them.
Yes.
It's tough. And as a person that went home first with a split vote,
yes,
I would have played my idol. I don't care. Anything that's my name get wrong, I'm playing it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Darnell, you and I, we're old school. Well,
yeah, I tell I was a little boy back then. Grown man now.
How long's it been?
10 years.
Wow. Wait, it's also giving like brawn, right? Like this is.
Yeah.
I'm officially a brawn now.
Yeah. He was on the Braun tribe then. They don't even have a tribe for him now. Lindsay, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
You're good. Let me just get you closer to this mic.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hi.
Lindsay,
Hi, everyone.
Now, what do you think about this position that Maria is in?
I think Maria's in a great position. I'm a huge Maria fan. I don't know what the path is for her to the end because I feel like and you and I have spoken about this like numerous times, is it's really hard for an older woman to make it to the end and win without either being carried to the end or just being seen as a threat. And they're gonna realize that Maria's a huge threat, and I think they're gonna take her out.
Yeah, well, it does seem like that there's a lot of talk about can anybody stop Maria, but it's interesting that there's 2 seasons in a row that it seems like that we had Julie last season and Maria this season that has something. Is something starting to shift where it's like, okay, now the mom is looked at as like this very dangerous player in the game?
I think they're always dangerous players in the game. It's just a question of like how far can they get.
But is the perception starting to change?
Definitely, and I think it comes with casting like really strong women. I think like I am in awe of the women that they've cast in the new era of Survivor in terms of women and moms and older women. But I'm noticing that they're getting a little bit stronger earlier in the game, and they're coming off as a threat earlier and earlier in the game. But again, my concern with that is how far is she going to be able to make it before they cut her loose? I just don't see it. I don't know. I would love to.
Well, there's only 2 nights left of Survivor. We have the final 6, and then we'll get into the finale. So, I mean, she's right there. She's real close.
I think it's going to take some immunity idols.
Yes.
Yeah. They've already been talking about her as like a strategic threat, and then socially, she burned a lot of bridges last episode. So I think it might be hard for her to get to the end without winning or finding something, but it's very possible.
Yeah.
But her path is probably the hardest, I think, of anyone left at this point.
Sarah Wilson is here. Sarah, how are you?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Yes, so nice to see you here. What have you? Now you helped launch the new era.
I did. My one episode.
Yes, you were there when Jeff Probst said, "I'm gonna stop saying come on in, guys," and now you've seen this full transformation now into Spicy Jeff. That he's now he says, "I'm gonna have one Twizzler and you can all take a bite."
Yep. I think it's interesting. Like, honestly, I feel like if I had one word to describe this cast, it would be unhinged. And I think we're also seeing an unhinged side of Jeff, which is great. Like, he's loosening up a little bit.
Yeah, but the Jeff that you saw, like I feel like there's really been like this such a big transformation just from like in these 3 years of the new era from where he started. Dwight, do you like this direction?
Oh, 100%. This is amazing. I remember in casting, I told Jeff, like, you need to just, like, give people a little more, like, talk a little more shit during challenges. It's, like, fun for us as players. And I'm glad to see him, like, embracing that fully. Like, in 46, he's talking a lot more with the players interacting. It's a fun vibe. You know, as a player, it's just fun to, you know, kind of just let the guard down a bit and just have fun with it. And that's the one time to do it.
I feel like I always personally got Sassy Jeff. Like, Sassy Jeff was always there for me.
Yeah, Clara, maybe you brought Sassy Jeff out of Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff definitely got sassy with me.
Yeah.
I got sassy with Jeff, so.
I feel like he's always been sassy, though.
See,
like, let's be real.
I agree. I always say to people when everyone's like, what's Jeff Probst like? I'm like, I don't think you guys understand how much he cusses.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys understand like how hardcore he is. I think he got really soft, and now he's trying to like backpedal and show everybody how hard he is. I don't know.
Whoa.
I didn't even know what I was supposed to say.
Yeah, but Claire, you're such a game changer because Claire sat out of a couple of challenges, and that was the first thing in the new era. They're like, all right, we're changing the rules. Everything else in the new era is like, no, we figured it out. This is how it is. 3 tribes. We got the whole format. Claire sits out of a couple challenges. They changed the rules instantly.
Let me tell you, my phone has been ringing off the hook since the 50 announcement. Everyone's like, alliance.
You're making alliances.
Yeah, of course. I'm finally going to be in an alliance.
Finally. Yeah. Darnell, what do you see that's really interesting to you as somebody who played in the 39-day era, now watching the show in the new era?
How hard they're playing. They're coming out the gate playing hard. This cast has been amazing. Like, I mean, from day one, it's nothing to slow down. It's just consistent, hard. And that's what I like about it the most.
Yeah. They do. I mean, that they're they got to go, and they're all like trying to get their resume going, and everybody's got to take out their number one ally, and it's been so interesting to watch how they're trying to do this. And I was talking about this with Owen, that do you feel like that are we setting this up for like a 43 type end game?
I think it's very possible, especially with like the whole talk season has been cutting your number one ally is very important. But now we're saying, Charlie, will he cut Maria? And it's getting to a point where even if he does, it might not be respected as anyone else cutting their number ones, because it's like everyone else did it at a point where it kind of, they improved their position in the game because of it, or like they were just taking a risk. It may seem like to the jury that Charlie did it because he had no other option, or other people told him to do it. So even though everyone else can take credit for blindside number ones, he may not be able to, which is concerning for his jury chances. He may be able to talk himself into like more respect in the jury. He's a good talker, as we've seen in confessionals, but I fear for his chances doing it so late in the game compared to everyone else.
Is there a world where Maria takes out Charlie next, that we feel like that Maria will probably beat Charlie in the end, but Charlie is talking to a lot of people? Like, could it get back to Maria and that she takes out her number one, and now she has a new number one in queue?
She's going to have to.
I'm curious if...
I think that's a good move for her.
Yeah, but I'm curious if these conversations are happening and we're just not seeing it.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if Maria isn't already having these conversations with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we saw in the episode that Maria and Charlie are like, where have you been? I haven't talked to you all day. But we didn't really get to see the conversations that Maria is having with the other people. We just saw like what Charlie's doing all day.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we have to run? No? That's it, Claire? That's it? Okay.
I'm shy.
Okay. All right. Give it up for Dwight, Sarah, Lindsay, Darnell, and Claire. Okay.
Oh, I've got my Twizzler.
This is something that's actually, like, I have something very fun that's planned for you, something that we've never done before. This was a really cool idea that we were able to bring together. Okay, for the first time ever, we are going to reunite an entire tribe on the stage, and it's a popular one, okay? Let's welcome in the Lulu tribe. Emily, Caleb, Sean, Sabaya, Brandon, and Hannah Rose back together for the first time ever. Hold on. I just got a note. Hannah Rose quit the show. She quit the live show. There was no vape? I thought I saw a few vapes.
Wait, hold on, 1 second.
Sabaya, how are you?
Who?
Lulu.
Who? Lulu. Okay, we just had to do that one time for you guys.
And Rob, I want to say, to start off with, thank you. Lulu's always usually the first ones out.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's nice to be here at the end.
Yeah,
You're making room for us.
Look how far you've all gotten.
Yeah, how far we've come.
Into the show.
I'm in the show. I got to be in the show.
You got to be in the show,
It took
yes.
a little bit, but we're here.
It took a minute.
They had steps instead of ladders. It's different.
Did I wrong everybody? I'm so confused. I'm kidding. We're all friends. This is great.
Yeah. Okay, Sabaya, can I ask you about, now, you had an idol also.
Oh. Yes,
but
Rob.
you were before it was cool that you didn't play the idol.
So uncool. Well, there's a lot about being on Lulu that was uncool, but we'll get to that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it's been really cool to see everybody like assess the idol situation differently. Like I know, speaking from personal experience, like a lot of fans, like I love Twitter. First of all, shout out to my trolls and everybody.
shout out to the trolls.
I love it.
Mad
but
respect.
Just having like your perspective, like how people were saying earlier, Jake, I believe, like every time there's an idol in play, it's like a personal attachment, like when you're in a video game. It doesn't work the same way like how it would with everybody else. So it's been, I feel like we've had a unique lens to see like, okay, if Sabaya has an idol, what can she do? If Caleb has an idol, what can he do? If, you know, whoever, like, it's very, very person-specific, and I feel like not enough people really pay more attention to that. They're just like, oh, play the idol, but it's like, okay, if I play an idol today, I'm going tomorrow. Me, you know what I'm saying, personally. So if you're talking about longevity in a game that's 26 days and you're on day 7, Okay, guys, y'all real quiet. Everybody was talking.
I will say, Sabaya, not just getting voted out, she was also, with an idol, she was also into voting out your number ones.
Right.
Oh,
and
do that before it was cool.
But also had not voted the whole game, so, if I'm going to get my first vote in, I'm going to make it big, you know what I'm saying?
This is like group therapy. We never got to do
nice.
this. This is really nice.
Yeah.
Go
Emily,
big or
how
go
are you
home,
doing?
literally.
Better now.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fun to watch other people embarrass themselves on TV.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Okay, so Lulu came up a lot this season in comparison to the Yanu tribe this season, okay? Now, we still have Q and Kenzie that are in the game, but I would love to get some thoughts on how you feel like to be compared to Yanu.
They're like the Caleb and Emily, to me. Personally, I feel like Caleb, because he forged obviously a bond with Emily in the beginning of the merge and everything like that, they were able to see it through. Because Tiff was his more so number one out of the three. It didn't really have the same effect. But I like the idea of them potentially working together in the future. I feel like that would be crazy.
I will say, to be at a Final 7 vote and have this icon voted out who was super transparent, came down on everyone.
Yes.
It was so cool. Finally, it wasn't Emily. We got to move on to the next one. But
I will say, I like to think about a world where Venus had a Caleb, right? Because I feel like that was the thing that Venus was lacking in her experience with her initial tribe, was somebody who was willing to reach out and give an olive branch. And half of that is the self-reflection to say, I need to change the way that I communicate with people. But the other half is having somebody who is willing to put the past in the past and work for it in the future. And so much of this season has been characterized by, I think, grudges, if I'm honest with you, and the inability to get past initial first impressions. And that's very much like how I imagine 46 moving forward.
Rob, I just want to say...
Damn!
I'm going to push back on that.
I just want to say, I was so thrilled on Survivor that the Lulu tribe could have held that worst tribe in Survivor history. And then came Yanu, and I was like, oh, we didn't live that out long enough.
Do you want that? Do you all want to be the worst tribe in Survivor history?
I'm the wrong person to ask, my guy. I feel like I might have been a leading cause. I want to give a compliment. Can I give a compliment very quickly?
Depends who it's to.
This as well. Listen, going out early on Survivor, not ideal, right? And I think it takes a really special person to take such a, like you see Bryce do it, take a bummer of a situation and make it into something really cool. And Jelinski is a fucking legend, man. Jelinski's a legend.
Tonight.
He's a legend. I just went through it, and I'm inspired by every time I see him do something. He's so good at what he's doing, and I just for all the early boots, he is our representation. That's the guy you want to be, is Jelinski. This is real. This is genuine.
The person who I want to be is Charlie right now.
Oh,
because
well,
what an episode.
listen.
Coming in and watching him, be able to kind of read off of Venus that obviously she showed her hand saying that she had something up her sleeve, right? And pivoting and trusting your gut. I think that's something that I've learned, and probably a lot of people who played Survivor, it's wishing you went with your gut quicker instead of waiting to see more evidence or more facts. And so it was cool to see that. We obviously, something Charlie and I share is our threat management level. So it's been really cool to see him do that, in the Final 7 vote.
Yeah, but you felt like that he went with his gut to take out Venus in this spot as opposed to going and taking out Q, which would have been the bigger move.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But Q's still being in this game right now. Right? It's like, of course, we are all fans. I can speak because I know them, but having somebody that has been on the bottom for so long and is still and has almost done the below the radar so deep that it's okay, I'm still the biggest smokescreen in the game, but I really don't even say nothing. It's really blows my mind. I feel like I don't know if it's unprecedented, but he's just been such a unique character for this season.
Yeah, no, Q has been amazing in that, it looked like his game was completely done and that they don't want to vote him out. His name comes up, but everybody's like, no, we'll go with somebody else. And it's just been so remarkable, especially that he is this incredibly fit guy. He won the challenge last week, and they keep feeding him. And it used to be, you know, like, oh, I don't want to let the guy who's really good at challenges, like, keep eating. And he gets to the end. It's day 20. He's right there. He's eaten more than I have the last 2 days.
Speaking for somebody that did not eat at all, except for like what? I mean, I know I didn't get the pineapple. Y'all ate that. Right, grapes. Yeah, like, I mean,
You
to
had
go.
grapes?
Grapes? Okay. Like, people don't like to say that we won one challenge, but we did.
Oh, you go one fruit.
I wasn't there for the grapes.
Yeah.
I missed the grapes by a day.
We had fruit, but it does take a toll on you. So them fueling him is really interesting as well. Yeah.
And, you know, and about Q, I feel like, you know, season 46 will probably disagree from everything I've seen so far, but it seems like he's really been humbled. Being at the bottom and just having to play his role as the soldier in the alliance, right? A vote, not too crazy, kind of laying low, sleeping by himself.
Did you just say Q has been humbled? Are we watching two separate shows, Caleb?
Emily wants to push back on that.
I'm
gonna push back on that.
No, but his ability to be a kind of like a chameleon and flip, because he was very like, this is what we're gonna do, bump, bump, bump. And now he's like, okay, whatever you want me to do. That is a very, I will sour Caleb with that, not surprising, but it's a very like hard thing to do in Survivor where you like have so much going on.
Yeah. Emily, it came up earlier tonight that the last time an idol got used correctly on Survivor was to send you home. And that's what it took to get you out.
Yeah.
A successful idol play.
Look, I was not long for the road.
Emily, do you hope that an idol never gets played correctly again?
Yeah, just out of sheer spite, I hope that there are no more idols.
Did you put a curse on the idol? Did you jinx the idol?
I like to say that Julie did, really. I mean, nobody is going to associate Julie's idol play, but I will say, I do think that if you are on season 47, if you're on season 48, there is not a chance we see, and I will go down right now saying it, having not even taped these seasons yet, there is not a chance somebody on season 47 or seasons 48 goes home with an idol in their pocket. Now, not after this show.
Mm-hmm. Right. They were all laughing at, who was it, Brandon, that played his, like, the first tribal. Everybody was like, why did he do that? But it matters. Like, your mindset, sometimes it's just better to get that off. Like, he was right to do that. I mean, I wish that I would have had that mentality, like, okay, it's in my pocket, it's burning a hole, just get rid of it, you know?
Brandon, what is Jeff bringing to Tribal Council next week?
Yeah, I'm over this stuff is getting too much stuff, right?
What about Milk Duds?
I hate a Milk Dud. A Milk Dud is bad. If we're gonna do a candy, get like a Kit Kat, get a mini M&M. This is off topic, and I'm sorry, but we had a funny thing happen today, all of us, and I'm gonna just tee it to Emily. On our way to the baseball game that we went to, Emily, it's so good. Just to set the scene, all of us are in an Uber, okay? We're going to the game, and I'm gonna cut to Emily.
Well, let me just say that I feel like Austin screwed me in the game in a lot of different ways. But I have never felt more screwed than the moment I did double check with Austin that we were going to Wiggly Field.
Wiggly Field.
And he called his Uber, I called our Uber, and we did go to Wiggly
Field.
Wiggly Field is a dog park 3 miles from the stadium.
But also, like, Emily, in fairness, like, did I have to name it Wiggly Field? Like,
Can you believe we never won a challenge?
Right.
This is the brains of our puzzles.
The 5 of us pull up, and it's like so residential on the street. And we're like, is this it? And then Caleb spots the Wiggly Field sign.
you got out of the car at the dog park.
Well, actually, I convinced our Uber driver, who barely spoke English, to drive us to the correct location, but he was very confused.
And the same Uber driver drove us here.
Yes,
Right.
and he
He
did
came
not
back.
remember us, and I was very offended, because I thought we made an impression.
He didn't remember this group?
It tracks for Lulu.
You're not exactly a, like, nondescript 5.
Like, almost iconic.
We're real. This is good. We should have just done this. We could have won some stuff.
It's good.
Just rip it.
Yeah. I mean, challenges, bad podcasts, you guys are great.
This is the first time I've been at one of these where Emily and Sabai are not just like yelling at each other. So this is awesome.
Amazing. Okay. But our time has run out. I'm sorry.
Always
but
a pleasure.
We'll let you guys get back to the dog park. Give it up for the Lulu tribe. Yes, great job. Thank you. Okay. I've got one more panel. This audience has been so great. Such a gracious audience. Appreciate you so much. Okay, we got a real treat for you. How about for dessert? Something a little different, okay? We've got a Big Brother panel. Please welcome in Jessica Milagros. We've got AmeriCorey. All right, we've got Jet. What are we doing here? Okay.
Are we sitting? Are we sitting?
Here, you want me to stand? You want me to stand?
Do we stand?
Okay. All right, Izzy, we've got Jag, we've got AmeriCorey, and Survivor 46's favorite cast member, Andy Herron. Okay, here, I'll come back. All right. How's everybody doing? Great.
Great.
Never better.
Andy's been looking forward to this.
Yes, okay.
Since he clicked send.
Andy, is this a sleigh or what?
Okay, I will fully admit that I think that it has gotten much better from when I initially tweeted. It was a very wild thing that happened. I remember the night like it was yesterday. I was not doing anything. I watched the movie Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Yes.
And great underrated movie. While I was watching it, I truly was just like, you know what? I'm not that into Survivor 46. And so just on my couch, thinking nothing of it, I tweeted it, went to bed, put my sweet little head down, woke up, and was just like, oh, what is going? 2,000 Twitter notes. Charlie Davis quote tweeted you. Oh, okay. And then I just kept reading them, and I was like, I think I'm canceled. I think this is what finally did it.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I can either ignore it or make fun of it, and I think I have to make fun of it.
Yeah.
So,
but, in hindsight, looking back, and it was early in the season, the way that the Survivor 46 treated Andy was like the most Survivor 46 thing that could have happened.
I brought them together.
Yes. Like, oh yeah, this is how they are. This is what it's like.
Yeah. They were so sweet and fun.
Yes. Yes. Izzy, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hello, Chicago.
Wow.
I'm big in Chicago. Okay.
Wow, what an ovation. Yes. As a member of the Fields family, honorary survivor, yes. What do you think about this season?
Listen. I ultimately think this season is like a mess. Great TV, you know? I think, I have a lot of opinions about the idol thing. I think like this, there's a lot of advantages, a lot of idols, a lot of stuff in the new era, and I think it's like less a fear maybe of like using it correctly and a fear of being without something. No one wants to be Suri on Game Changers.
Right.
Right? And this new era, there's so much out there, and people are scared of the next vote, but if you don't even get to the next night, who cares?
Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard it put that way, that there's so many things. It's like, finally, I have a thing. I can't be without my thing.
It's scary to be without your thing.
Yeah. Okay, America, how are you feeling about this season? Wow.
I like it. I love people backstabbing, blindsiding each other. I think it's so fun. I'm kind of new to Survivor.
Yeah.
So Corey's like, oh, they always have blindsides. And I'm like, oh, well, I wish there were more our season. And I wish there was more people cutting their number ones. I really hope that happened. I was really, rooting for that in the jury house, but I like it. I'm here for it. I love the drama.
Yeah, it's very messy.
Yeah.
You like that?
I like it. I wish Venus would have played her. I'm like saying, because I'm like, Corey, why don't they play their idol? I would rather play it and not have any votes and regret. What did I say, babe? It was good. Whatever I said, it was good.
It was, I bet.
No,
Sounds
it was
like
I'd rather go home and no, I'd rather
shame of
stay
playing
and
it.
use
Yeah.
it than go home having it. I just don't get it.
I agree. I think there is the idea that Izzy was talking about of I don't think it's fear of playing it wrong necessarily.
when you have the idol, you also know a lot of people also don't have the idol. The second you use it, it goes back into play. There's another idol hunt going on. I think what's super interesting now, so even Charlie doesn't know Venus had the idol. I don't think there's gonna be an idol hunt because everyone's gonna assume somebody has it. So we might be done with idols for the season.
I don't know. I think they're going to go back out and look for idols
Not
after
Liz.
this. Not Liz. No. No.
Liz has never looked for idols. It's from the beginning.
Yeah. Jessica, are you a big Survivor fan?
I am.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. I love me some like really strong women, and heads up, like I'm in love with all the women from the new season, from the new era, because I feel like, I mean, I love all the women on Survivor, but I feel like this new era of women have just been big bosses. I just want to see someone make a big move. You know, I'm about the
Big moves.
the
Big moves. Right.
Take them out. Take them out. I just need someone to go. I need a big threat to go home.
What would be a big move?
I mean, it would have been a big move for Venus to use that idol and take Q out.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a great move.
Yeah. But she didn't know, she didn't know it was coming.
But I love that there's like all the women left, plus.
Q and Charlie and
Yeah.
Ben. Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I only focus on the women, but yeah. That makes
But
sense.
Maria's looking like she's in the best spot. Kenzie?
I think Kenzie's in a great spot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Kenzie seems to be sort of like the filter for both sides.
Yeah.
You know, everyone seems to be coming to her to like run their plan or like things by her.
Yeah.
And that's extremely valuable. And also no heats on her. She's the only duo where like Tiffany went and she's not immediately going after her.
Right.
Everyone's talking about Charlie and Maria that
we
way.
haven't talked about it tonight, but Kenzie did a really good job. Like she was like kind of like in her feelings, like right after Tribal Council, and then sort of like, all right, I'm gonna like rebound from this, and then she wasn't really even in discussion to go home. So she's rebounded really well from that when she could have been the next person to go home. Jack, how do you feel?
How's it going? I'm happy to be here.
What's up, Jack?
You know, something that I think is really cool about Survivor, I'm a newer Survivor watcher as well, is how they're talking through all of these game moves in front of the jury. So it's all happening live, and jury is like learning about it as it happens, and so it's been cool watching them like make their cases, and they're obviously very vocal about it. And so that's cool. I'm interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah. Andy, who are you rooting for?
I really like the position that Charlie is in right now. I like that Charlie is like the beating heart of what's going on, but he's got like the limbs and the body flailing in front of him, and like Maria and in Q and in the other players. And I think that if he strikes at the right time and if he makes the right moves, and I think it's going to be like a delicate process. I think that all of his small moves will culminate into something really impressive if he can make it to the end, but it's a big if.
Tonight, America, that when Charlie talked to Kenzie, he used a turn of phrase that I haven't ever heard before. He said, I'm going to tell you the Taylor Swift honest truth. Now, is that a real thing? And then if Charlie lies on Taylor Swift, does he get canceled like Andy?
Well, like, I hate to say it, but you got the wrong one. I'm not the Swiftie. Corey is.
Oh.
So if anybody knows about T Swift, it's him. They actually, when we were in lockdowns in the house, they would play Taylor Swift just for Corey. They told us later, they're like, Corey, we played All Too Well, the 10-minute version, because we heard you really like Taylor Swift. So he's the Swiftie.
A lot of people complain about how much Charlie mentions it. Y'all are just lucky they edited out my DRs. Every other word. I just do want to touch on what Izzy was saying about Charlie, because like Charlie's game is so interesting to me. If he has a chance of getting jury votes, he's playing perfectly. But he might just not have a chance, and we're just seeing a totally different version than what the jury's seeing. I think what this shows is he has a lot of faith in Ben. Because right now, at the final 6, he's going to have the same chance to do the move he wanted at the final 7, assuming Ben's on board. I have no idea. We haven't seen much of Ben's thought process. But if he's able to get Maria out now, it's 1 week earlier, 1 less week he needs to win out. And if Jag kind of showed, if you have win equity, you're towards the end, you can just kind of win the stuff and get to the end. So.
Wow. Jag, look at you.
He's sweating bullets right now.
Yeah. That was actually I'm a ventriloquist, and I said all
That's a good one. That's so good.
Okay, now it's not a big part of Big Brother, the choose people for rewards that we saw Maria have to do tonight. What was the reaction from the Big Brother panel about that?
I had to do it.
Yes.
I had to choose people. And I was playing so well that they all volunteered to do it so I didn't have to choose. But it made my life very easy. If I had done it, I would have just wanted to do it fairly, like squarely, like you three were have-nots last. Like I would have done it like that. I wouldn't have been emotional.
Yeah, I picked Izzy to be a have-not with me.
I begged to be a have-not with you.
Yeah. And then I chose Bowie, and my whole thought
that's
process is
correct.
Bowie's not going to be mad at me, and Bowie was really mad at me. So I think ultimately, like, those decisions only matter, like, if you want a reason to not like that person. If I trust Jag and Jag doesn't take me on a reward, it doesn't matter to me. If I don't trust Jag, it's just evidence of, oh, obviously I can't trust Jag.
Well, you know Jag would have done rock, paper, scissors, too, with everyone.
I respected that move. I respected that move. Rock, paper, scissors is elite.
I would have done gummy bears. Gummy bears are the way.
Shout outs.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Big Brother panel. Any other thoughts that you wanted from the Big Brother perspective you want to share about Survivor 46?
BB26 got a date announced.
Yeah, are you all excited?
July, baby. July 17th and 18th.
It'll be something.
We need the night one feeds, though. Come on, so
Night
much
one
feeds.
Yeah.
No immediate eviction. I hate that. Casting is so intense, it sucks.
Jack,
Keep everyone there.
I think Julie needs to bring some Twizzlers to the
Yes, could you imagine? Maybe to God 101. Started off with give Twizzlers to people.
I was always curious if Survivor ever wanted Survivor live feeds.
Yes, they want that. Yeah.
Because I feel like it would be such a different view on these players that you see now.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, just
Look at Rob, he's like,
no, but in all seriousness,
yeah.
like if you think the Big Brother live feeds get boring, Survivor live feeds is a lot of downtime on Survivor. You know that I think Survivor's fine. I don't know if you need the Survivor live feeds.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
can't say that to
yeah.
Big Brother
Yeah.
people.
Let's just get like Big Brother Canada with live feeds. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Okay. All right. Big Brother panel. Thank you so much. Here, stay right here. Stay right here. Okay. Sam, anything else? Okay. I mean it so much. Thank you. What an incredible audience you've been here tonight. I was really worried coming into tonight because this is the biggest crowd we've ever had, and if the crowd does not cooperate, that these shows can be really hard to do if people are talking and not paying attention. But this crowd was so amazing. So thank you so much. And you know what? Sam, I think we would come back to Chicago.
Yeah.
You guys do rock. Okay. All right. Any other notes for the people? A second bar. Okay. All right. We'll do that after we stop recording the podcast. But of course, that if you're listening to this for people who are not with us on Thursday, we still got a Survivor Know-It-Alls coming up on Friday and everything else. So, and if you watched us on YouTube, we love to hear your comments too. So I want to thank everybody that came out to the Athenaeum Theater tonight. You were amazing. Thanks to this incredible panel. Thank you, Sam, behind the scenes, and everybody else who helped us put on the show. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.